Chapter 6. Becoming the Guide. The morning light touched the gym softly, painting golden trails across the iron and sweat. It was quiet, the kind of quiet that felt alive, as if the walls themselves remembered every heartbeat, every drop of determination that had ever fallen here. She stood by the mirror again, the same mirror from years ago. But this time, her eyes didn't search for strength. They reflected it. Behind her, the hum of new footsteps filled the air. A group of young trainees entered, uncertain, awkward, hopeful. Some looked around nervously. Others tried to act confident. She saw herself in all of them. The trembling hands, the shallow breaths, the fear of not being enough. She smiled gently and said, "Welcome to the place where strength isn't found, it's built." They laughed softly, unsure if it was meant to be inspiring or intimidating. She continued, "This isn't a gym, it's a mirror. Every time you lift something heavy, you'll meet the parts of yourself you've been avoiding, and that's how you grow." Those words settled in the room like dust, quiet but heavy. And so began their journey. The first few weeks were rough. People quit. Some complained that it was too hard. Others said they weren't made for this. But she didn't try to convince them to stay. She simply said, "If you walk away now, the pain stays with you. If you stay, the pain turns into power." A few decided to remain, and for those few, everything began to change. She created something new in that place, not just a training routine, but a philosophy. Each session started with silence. She told them, "Before you lift anything, listen to your breath, to your fear, to the small voice inside that says, 'I can't,' and then lift anyway." They learned that it wasn't about how much they could carry, but how deeply they could believe. One rainy evening, a young woman stayed after class. She looked exhausted. Her shoulders slumped, her eyes wet. "Can I tell you something?" she whispered. "Always," she said. "I think I'm done," the girl said, trembling. "No matter how hard I try, I still feel small." She walked closer, looked the girl in the eye, and said softly, "You don't grow because you don't fall. You grow because you stand up every time you do. Feeling small doesn't mean you failed. It means you're about to outgrow who you were." The girl cried. But the next morning, she came back and kept coming back. Weeks turned into months. The gym changed again. It wasn't just a place to train. It became a heartbeat. People started staying after sessions, talking, laughing, sharing stories. One by one, they began helping each other. Someone would say, "Hey, I remember when that lift scared me too." Or, "It's okay to rest. Resting doesn't mean quitting." She realized something powerful. The strength she had once searched for alone had multiplied through others. One night, the coach, her old mentor, came to visit. He watched quietly as she guided her group, correcting forms, cheering softly, smiling warmly. When the class ended, he approached her. "You've built something beautiful here," he said. She shrugged, smiling. "I just kept showing up." He looked at her for a moment and said, "That's what leaders do. They don't shine so others can see them. They shine so others can find their own light." She froze. Because in that moment, she realized that was exactly what she wanted all along. Not to be seen, but to remind others they matter. The next morning, she arrived before sunrise. The world outside was still asleep, the sky painted in silver and gray. She sat on the floor, eyes closed, and remembered everything. Every tear, every failure, every whisper of doubt. Then a thought came, soft but certain. This is what it was all for. Every breakdown had become a blueprint, every scar, a story. Every time she wanted to quit, a lesson she now taught with love. She began writing again, this time not for herself, but for the ones still searching. You don't find strength at the top. You find it in the climb. In the hands that shake, in the breath that stumbles, in the moment your mind screams no and your heart whispers just once more. Her notebook became a collection of hope, notes, reminders, affirmations, words that once healed her, now healing others. Then came the day of the first open session. Dozens of new faces filled the gym, people who had heard of her story. Some came to train, others came to listen. She stood before them, heart pounding, but her voice steady. "You all came here for strength," she began, "but strength isn't what you think it is. It's not in the body. It's in the decision to show up, to fight your darkness one more day, to believe that pain can teach and that growth doesn't always feel good." She paused, looked around, and said quietly, "If you're here, you already have what it takes. You're just learning to see it." The room was silent, and in that silence, hearts awakened. After everyone left that night, she stayed behind, sitting under the same flickering light she once cried beneath. Only this time, there were no tears, just gratitude. She whispered, "Thank you for the pain, the silence, the storms, because without them, I would never have learned to stand in the light." Later that week, she received a message from one of her trainees. "Because of you, I didn't give up. Thank you." She smiled, holding back tears. It wasn't pride she felt, it was peace. Because she understood, you don't need millions of followers to make an impact. You just need one person who decided to keep going because you did. One night, she locked up the gym and walked home in the rain. The streets shimmered under the dim city lights, and for the first time, she felt complete. Not perfect, not finished, but whole. She thought of the girl she used to be, fragile, afraid, uncertain, and whispered to the wind, "We made it." Not because life got easier, but because she got stronger. Now, every morning when she steps into the gym, she looks around and sees more than people lifting weights. She sees lives being rebuilt, fears being faced, dreams being reborn. She doesn't tell them how to live. She shows them how to keep believing. One breath, one rep, one choice at a time. As the sun rises higher, she wipes her hands, looks at the mirror one last time, and smiles. Because the reflection no longer asks, "Who am I?" It answers, "I am the light that never left." Final message of Chapter 6. You won't always see your own progress. Some days, all you'll see is pain, sweat, and doubt. But remember, every time you rise again, you are rewriting the story of who you are. One breath, one choice, one day stronger. And one day, without even realizing it, you will become the reason someone else doesn't give up.